Today on General Hospital, Lucas agrees to move in with Marco. Sunny and Jason plot Sidwell's demise, and Laura worries about the election. Laura meets with Jack in his office, where he informs her that Anna called him, and she's been called back by the WSB on a classified assignment. Laura doesn't believe Anna would walk out on her job without calling her, but Jack says that's all he knows and can offer the WSB's assistance in Anna's absence if needed. Laura takes off, but not before warning Jack not to use her granddaughter as a commodity to trade for information. With Valentine or anyone else, Emma meets with Charlotte at Bobby's to discuss the plan to get the key fob to Dalton's lab, which Britt has. In the background, Britt orders a coffee to go at the counter, and Emma swoops in to pay for it as a peace offering. Britt accepts her offer, and Emma suggests they grab a seat. Emma apologizes for what she said in Dalton's office, and she's looking forward to working with her and the professor. Britt tells her they not only won't be working together, but she's not getting near that lab, as it's authorized personnel only. Britt takes off. Lulu arrives, having found Charlotte's laptop, which was under some of Tracy's boxes. She also brings her daughter news of her father, and that Jack may be bringing him here to the States. Charlotte knows this is so Jack can get more information out of her dad, and Lulu admits that this could put her in a dangerous position. Charlotte assures her mother that her dad would never let her visit if it was dangerous, and she's valuable to the WSB, so they'll protect her. Lulu says there could come a day when Valentine's value to the WSB is no more, so what happens to her then is what has her worried. Laura later arrives at Bobby's, spots Emma, and asks if she's heard from her grandma recently. Emma says she got a voicemail from her that she went out of town, and it has to do with the WSB. Laura then heads over and gives Charlotte a hug, as she hasn't seen her in ages. Charlotte heads to talk with Emma, and Laura sits down with Lulu. Lulu fills her mother in about her and Charlotte's conversation about Valentine. Laura says she is on the same page with her daughter that Jack is dangerous. He proved that today when he told her about Anna vanishing out of nowhere. If Ezra learns of this, he'll use this against her in the campaign. Meanwhile, Charlotte and Emma chat, and Emma still hasn't got the key fob. And their takedown has to happen tonight. At Ava's, Lucas answers the door to Marco, who immediately asks him to move in together. Joss pops her head out and says hello, and that she was just heading out and leaves the men to talk. Lucas tells Marco his timing is on point, as Ava just told him it was time for him to go. However, Lucas can't move in with him, as it feels too fast and too similar to what happened with Brad. Marco insists he's not Brad. He knows Lucas is scared. He is too, but he loves him and doesn't expect Lucas to say it back. He just wants to be around him all the time, as Lucas makes him happy. Lucas admits Marco makes him happy too, and agrees to give this a shot. Joss heads to Jack's office and tells him that Marco showed up when she was talking to her uncle and asked Lucas to move in. She's worried that this could put her uncle in danger, and she needs to warn him somehow without mentioning Sidwell. Jack is livid and informs her that if she tells Lucas, he'll have her arrested for treason. He orders her to stay close to Lucas, as her uncle has just become their most valuable asset. At Sunny's, Jason informs him that he has signed a deal for backup peers in Rochester should the election not go their way. He notes there is a more straightforward solution, and that's to get rid of Sidwell. Sunny says Turner has been keeping an eye on him and Sidwell, and if they make a move right now, they hand Turner what she needs to take them down. Sunny also knows the WSB is watching Sidwell, which would complicate things for them on a federal level. Sunny says there is another issue. Lucas is dating Marco, and Lucas is a wild card who won't hesitate to go to the police if he suspects foul play on their end. It will also bring Alexis and Christina down on them because of their connection to Marco. So taking out Sidwell isn't worth alienating those he cares about. At Windermere, Ava is going over art pieces with him for the castle, and Sidwell asks her about Sunny. She wishes to avoid that subject, as she'd like to keep the peace between her and Avery's father. Sidwell wants peace with him too, and asks how to achieve it. Ava says as long as Sunny sees him as a threat to his children, there will be no peace and no place to hide. They have tea and chit-chat about Sunny some more, including Marco's disappearance, which Ava knows Sunny was suspected of. He comments on how perceptive she is, and that she's welcome to drop by at any time, as she brightens up this place. Ava has to go, so Sidwell sees her out. Britt appears out of nowhere, saying, "Thank God, I thought she'd never leave." He asks how she got in here, and she explains she used to live here. He scolds her, saying it was careless of her to come uninvited, and asks for an update. Britt says Dalton is serious about cutting him out, so Sidwell orders her to keep on him. Outside, Marco and Lucas arrive and share a kiss. They walk in, and Lucas is stunned to see Britt there. At the hospital, Felicia is on the phone with Brooke Lynn about James's writing lesson, when a shady character, played by Peter Stormare, arrives as Felicia gabs on the phone. He puts earphones in and rolls his eyes as she doesn't stop talking, and it's clear he's watching her for some reason. This has to be either Faison or Peter in a mask, right? Eventually, when Felicia begins working on a computer, he walks by and hands her a folder labeled General Hospital. She thanks him, and when a pencil rolls off the desk, he catches it and hands it to her, saying, "There you go." He walks off, and she seems suspicious, as if she noticed something in his voice. She yells at him to stop and asks, "What is this?" when she looks at the file. We never get back to who he is. In Steinmauer, Carly, in her super spy disguise, meets with Valentine. She relays that Jack is working to transfer Valentine to a prison in the States, which only proves to Valentine that Carly is Jack's blind spot. As he followed her suggestion, Valentine warns her that Jack is an exceptional agent, and she has to be flawless and not make a single mistake. If Jack sees through her deceit, he'll show her no mercy and will go after Joss to hurt her. At Bobby's, Laura tells Lulu she has to be at her best at the final debate tonight and convince Port Charles that Ezra is bad for the city. Emma tells Charlotte PCU will be packed for the debate tonight, so it's the perfect time to strike as nobody will be watching the lab. Charlotte tells Emma to leave, getting the key fob to her. In Steinmauer, Valentine tells Carly to document everything she hears Jack say on the phone and give the info to him, as he'll know what he needs when he sees it. Jack thinks he's invincible, but he has two weaknesses, his ego and her. Together they can bring him to his knees. In his office, Jack tells Joss they've never been this close to figuring out Sidwell's plans, so she has to convince Lucas to move in with Marco. Jack then calls Vaughn to increase observation on Lucas Jones and his boyfriend. At Windermere, Sidwell tells Lucas and Marco that he was meeting with Dr. Westbourne about a position as the household doctor, but it turns out she doesn't have her license. He sees Britt out and then welcomes Lucas to Windermere. Britt listens at the window and learns Lucas is moving in.